Ladies, let me tell you something straight, because I don't like to sugarcoat it. When a man starts switching up in the bedroom, when the rhythm changes, when the habits you know so well suddenly start to feel foreign, you better pay attention. Men are creatures of pattern. When he loves you, his intimacy is rooted in comfort, familiarity, and connection. But when that connection gets broken, when he's getting his thrills somewhere else, the bed is the first place you're going to notice the signs. See, cheating don't just show up in text messages or phone calls he hides. It shows up in how he touches you, or more importantly, how he stops touching you. It shows up in his energy. If he's suddenly too tired, uninterested, rushing through intimacy, or on the flip side, pulling out new tricks he never showed you before. You got to ask yourself, where did he learn that? Now, don't get me wrong, men can grow, men can change, men can try new things. But when his effort in bed is inconsistent with the rest of your relationship, that's not growth, that's guilt. He's overcompensating or he's distancing. Ladies, you can't ignore your intuition. God gave women that inner alarm system for a reason. If something feels off, 9 times out of 10, it's off. And when a man cheats, he always leaves crumbs. The bed is one of the first places those crumbs fall. So here's the truth. If he does this in bed, if he pulls away, if he treats intimacy like a chore, or if he suddenly reinvents himself without ever discussing it with you, you better wake up and recognize what's happening. Don't let loneliness, fear, or excuses blind you. You deserve loyalty, respect, and love that doesn't wander when temptation comes knocking. Ladies, I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little, but it's the truth. Men are creatures of habit. When a man is with you, when he is invested in you, his patterns, his ways of showing love, they stay consistent. He might switch up little things here and there, but who he is at the core remains steady. You get to know his rhythm, his flow, the way he approaches intimacy. You become familiar with his touch, his energy, his comfort in being with you. But when those patterns suddenly change in ways you can't explain, when you find yourself thinking, that's not how he usually is, then you have to stop ignoring what your spirit is trying to tell you. That shift doesn't come out of nowhere. Something has influenced it, and too often that something is somebody else. See, intimacy is one of the most telling parts of a relationship. When a man loves you, the intimacy has a meaning. It's more than just physical. It's about connection, closeness, reassurance. He finds joy in it because it's a way to bond with you, to feel like you belong to him and he belongs to you. But when that man steps out, when he starts cheating, the first place you will notice the cracks is in that bedroom. Either he pulls back or he starts acting brand new. And neither of those are coincidences. If he's pulling back, you'll feel it. Suddenly, he's always tired. Suddenly, he doesn't want to touch you as often. The excuses become regular. He tells you he's stressed. He's distracted. He's got too much on his mind. And while some of that can be true from time to time, when it becomes a pattern, you better wake up. Because what's really going on is that his energy is being spent somewhere else. His passion, his drive, his fire, it's being given to someone who's not you. And when that happens, he comes back to your bed with nothing left to give. Now, on the other side, you have the man who suddenly starts switching things up in ways you didn't expect. Maybe he starts trying new moves, showing you things he never showed you before. Maybe he comes in with a different kind of energy, as if he's experimenting. And you're sitting there wondering, where did this come from? Men don't just wake up one morning and decide to become a brand new lover out of the blue. They don't invent these things from thin air. If he's pulling out things he's never done with you before, then there's a good chance he's been practicing with somebody else. And here's the hardest part to hear. A man who is guilty will always leave traces. He can't hide the guilt in his body language. He can't hide the guilt in the way he pulls away or overcompensates. He will either avoid intimacy because he feels bad, or he'll smother you with sudden attention, because he's trying to cover up his tracks. But ladies, your intuition knows better. You can feel it. You might not have the text messages. You might not catch him in the act, but your spirit tells you something is off. Don't ignore that voice. You've been blessed with an alarm system that rings loud when the energy around you changes, when your man is inconsistent, when the bed doesn't feel like it used to, when you feel that distance. Don't brush it off as nothing. Too many women silence their own intuition because they're afraid of what the truth might be. But if you keep ignoring those red flags, you're only prolonging the pain. A man who cheats will always reveal himself. And one of the first places he reveals it is when the lights go off and the door is closed. When you're with a man long enough, you begin to know him in ways that nobody else can. You know his habits, his moods, his preferences, and the way he responds to life. You know when he's tired for real, when he's stressed, when he's being affectionate, and when he's distant. That knowledge is what gives women an advantage, because you don't need a detective to figure out when something isn't right. You already live with the evidence every single day. The challenge is not noticing the signs. It's whether you're willing to believe them. Too many times, women see the changes, they feel the difference, but they make excuses because the truth is too painful. But if you want peace, if you want honesty, you have to face what's right in front of you. A man can't keep his behavior hidden forever, especially not in the bed. If he's cheating, he will either shut down or overcompensate, and neither one is natural. When he shuts down, intimacy starts to feel like a chore. He'll tell you he's tired, that work is too much, that he's not in the mood. And sure, everybody gets tired sometimes, but a man who loves you will still find time to connect, even in small ways. When he stops altogether, when he turns that part of the relationship into silence, it's not just exhaustion. It's because that energy is going somewhere else. He's given that side of himself to somebody who's not you, and he doesn't have much left to offer. On the other hand, when he's overcompensating, he'll act like he's trying to prove something. Suddenly he's romantic in ways he never was before, or he's bringing out things in bed that feel brand new. And listen, growth and learning in a relationship is a good thing when it's genuine. But when it comes without conversation, when it feels like a performance instead of a connection, it should make you raise an eyebrow. Because where did it come from? Why now? Why this sudden switch? That's the kind of question that a woman who trusts her instincts will not ignore. One thing I've learned is that guilt is a powerful motivator. When a man is guilty, it doesn't just sit in his mind. It comes out in his actions. Some men will retreat because the guilt eats at them. Others will put on a show to convince you that nothing's wrong. But guilt always leaves a trail, and it almost always shows up in intimacy. A man who is genuine with you will want to share closeness in a way that builds both of you up. A man who is stepping out will either be drained or forced, and neither one feels right to a woman who knows better. That's why intuition matters so much. A woman's intuition is not just a feeling, it's built from the patterns she's seen, the behavior she's learned, and the changes that don't add up. It's your built-in truth detector. When you feel like something is off in your relationship, that's not paranoia. That's your spirit alerting you to something real. Too many women try to silence it, telling themselves they're overthinking, but in most cases, the first thought that crossed your mind was the right one. And let's be real, men are not as slick as they think they are. A man who is cheating believes he can juggle both lives without you noticing. But no matter how hard he tries, something will always slip. It might be the way he avoids eye contact, the way he rushes through intimacy, the way he suddenly has new ideas in the bedroom, or the way he stops showing up there altogether. Whatever it is, it will feel different to you. And that difference is your clue. The bed tells the story that the phone and the excuses try to hide. When the passion doesn't match the love, when the actions don't match the history, that's when you know you need to pay attention. Don't brush it aside. Don't wait until the signs pile so high you can't breathe under them. Trust what you already know, because the truth doesn't hide forever. You can always tell when a man's energy has shifted, because intimacy is one of the truest mirrors of a relationship. The way he treats you in that space reflects what's really in his heart. When a man is faithful, when his focus is on you, the bedroom becomes a place of security, comfort, and reassurance. Even when life gets stressful, even when the days are long and heavy, he still seeks that connection because it restores him. But when his focus drifts, when he starts sharing himself with someone else, the comfort and security disappear, and you're left with something that doesn't feel right anymore. That difference can't be ignored. You might notice he's distracted, like his mind is somewhere else, even when his body is with you. Maybe he's rushing through the moment, eager to get it over with instead of savoring the time together. Or maybe he's distant, holding back in ways that make you wonder if he even wants to be there. None of that happens by accident. A man who is faithful and committed will not treat intimacy like an obligation. He will show up fully present because he wants to, not because he feels like he has to. The second it starts to feel like a duty, you have to ask yourself why. There are men who, when they start cheating, try to balance their guilt by suddenly giving more. They'll turn up the passion, bring new energy, try things you've never seen before. At first, it might feel exciting, but if you pay attention, you'll realize it doesn't match the reality of your relationship. Why is he suddenly reinventing himself? Where did these ideas come from? Why now? Those are questions you can't overlook. Men don't just wake up out of nowhere with brand new ways of doing things unless they've been influenced by another situation. And if you're honest with yourself, deep down you already know when something doesn't feel authentic. What makes this so hard is that many women want to believe the best. They want to think maybe he's just tired. Maybe he's trying to spice things up. Maybe he's going through a phase. But ignoring what you see and feel only drags out the hurt. You can love a man with everything in you, but if he's cheating, your love won't stop the truth from revealing itself. The truth will show up in how he acts when the lights go down. The truth will show up in his body language, in his lack of consistency, in his sudden bursts of change. You have to remember that intimacy isn't just physical, it's emotional. When a man starts cheating, that emotional tie to you weakens. He may still touch you, but the connection feels different because his heart is divided. And no matter how hard he tries to cover it, no matter how much he tells you everything is fine, your spirit picks up on the cracks. That's why women so often say, I just knew. It wasn't something you could prove with evidence at first, but it was something you could feel. That feeling is not wrong. Guilt always leaves fingerprints. If he's pulling away, that's one. If he's suddenly overcompensating, that's another. If he seems restless or inconsistent, that's another. When you put those pieces together, the picture becomes clear. And while it hurts to admit, it's better to face what's real than to live in a comfort zone built on lies. A man who truly loves you, a man who is loyal, will not treat intimacy as a place where secrets live. He will treat it as a safe space where love is expressed, where honesty is natural, and where you never have to question his intentions. The moment that certainty disappears, the moment you feel yourself second, guessing what's happening in that space, that's when you know something deeper is going on. When you're in a relationship, the bed should be the place where everything makes sense, where all the chaos of the outside world quiets down, and where the two of you meet with honesty and closeness. But when a man starts stepping out, when he's giving his time, his passion, his effort to another woman, the bed stops being that safe place. It becomes the first stage where the cracks in the relationship start to show. That's because intimacy is not just about the act itself. It's about presence, connection, and consistency. A man can fake words, he can fake smiles, he can fake conversations, but it's very hard for him to fake intimacy in a way that feels real over time. When a man is cheating, he may try to keep up appearances at first. He might still hold you, still kiss you, still go through the motions. But if you've been with him long enough, you'll notice the little details that give him away. The way his touch doesn't linger the same. The way his eyes don't connect with yours like they used to. The way he seems preoccupied, as if his thoughts are somewhere else. And when you ask him about it, he'll brush it off, say he's just tired, or blame work, or blame stress. But you know him, you've seen him tired before. You've seen him stressed before. And this is different. There are also men who take the opposite route. Instead of pulling back, they start pouring on more energy than usual, as if to distract you. Suddenly, he's being affectionate in ways he never was. Suddenly, he's trying new things in the bedroom that you never asked for, never talked about, never even hinted at. And while some women might think maybe he's just trying to spice things up, deep down there's that nagging voice that says, "But why now?" Because the truth is, when a man is cheating, guilt makes him behave in extremes. He either gives you less because he's already given too much somewhere else, or he gives you more to convince you nothing is wrong. Either way, neither feels consistent with the man you know. The danger is that many women want to hold on to hope. They'll tell themselves that the changes are harmless, that maybe he's just evolving, maybe he's just trying something new, maybe it's just a phase. But ignoring those instincts is what allows the pain to grow. Because no matter how much you try to explain it away, you cannot hide from what you feel when the intimacy shifts. The bed becomes cold, or it becomes a performance. But either way, it doesn't feel like home anymore. That's why paying attention matters. Men often underestimate how closely women observe. They think they can make changes without being noticed. But you've studied him. You've learned him. You know him better than anyone else. If he's pulling away, you'll sense it. If he's overcompensating, you'll question it. If he's inconsistent, you'll feel the confusion. Those feelings are not lies. They are the reality trying to break through. Cheating always leaves a trail, and one of the clearest trails is in intimacy. When a man is no longer invested in the same way, when his energy feels divided, when his presence in the bedroom no longer matches the love you once shared, that's your signal. And while it may hurt to admit, while it may break your heart to even consider it, the truth is still better than being deceived. Because once you see it for what it is, once you trust your intuition, you can decide how to move forward instead of staying stuck in confusion. A lot of people don't realize how much truth is revealed when two people are alone together, away from the noise, away from the outside world. The way a man treats you in that space tells you what you really mean to him. It's not about what he posts online. It's not about what he says when other people are listening. It's not even about how he acts in public. What matters most is how he shows up when it's just you and him, with no audience, no distractions, no mask. That's when the truth comes out. That's when you see if his love is consistent or if it's drifting. And when a man cheats, he can't hide that shift for long. Cheating is not only about the physical act. It's about where his attention, his energy, and his emotions are being spent. If he's pouring himself into another woman, then something has to change in the way he deals with you. He might try to hide it, but the signs always show up in the bedroom. Maybe he doesn't reach for you the same way anymore. Maybe his affection feels mechanical, like he's just going through the motions. Maybe he's restless, distracted, acting like his mind is far away even while his body is right there. Those things are not coincidences. They are indicators that something has shifted. Then there are the men who will flip the script and suddenly give more than they used to. They'll shower you with affection, bring out a new side of themselves, introduce new behavior in bed that you never saw before. And on the surface, it might feel like a gift. But if you listen to your instincts, you'll notice it feels forced. It feels like a performance. It feels like he's trying too hard to prove something, instead of just being himself. That's guilt at work. That's him trying to cover up the fact that he's not fully loyal. The hardest part for many women is not spotting the signs. It's accepting them. You can love a man so deeply that you don't want to face the possibility that he's betraying you. You'll convince yourself that you're imagining things, that you're being insecure, that you're overreacting. But the truth is, women rarely imagine things that aren't there. That feeling you have in your gut, that little alarm going off inside you, it's there for a reason. You don't have to wait until you catch him red-handed, because the signs in his behavior are already speaking to you loud and clear. Men often underestimate how intuitive women are. They think they can compartmentalize, that they can cheat on the side and still come home and act like nothing's wrong. But no matter how smooth he tries to be, his actions betray him. The way he touches you changes. The way he looks at you changes. The consistency of his intimacy changes. Those little cracks add up, and eventually you can't ignore them. That's why you have to pay attention, even when it hurts. The bed tells a story that words don't. A man who is faithful will be present with you, even if he's tired, even if life is stressful. His consistency will show because his love is anchored in you. A man who is cheating will reveal himself through inconsistency, distance, or sudden unexplained changes. It may not always be obvious at first, but the more you pay attention, the more the truth becomes undeniable. And while it's painful to accept, it's always better to deal with the truth than to live under a lie. When a man cheats, he thinks he can control the story, that he can keep both worlds separate, that he can play the role of a loyal partner at home while entertaining someone else on the side. What he doesn't understand is that the truth has a way of leaking out in the smallest ways. No matter how clever he thinks he is, no matter how hard he tries to hide, his actions will betray him, especially in the place where the relationship is supposed to be most sacred. Intimacy is not something you can fake for long. A man can fake a smile, fake interest in a conversation, fake excuses about where he's been, but he can't fake consistency in the bedroom. That's the space where the truth lies. You'll notice it in the way his energy feels different. He may come to you distracted, restless, or completely drained. It's not because he's suddenly lost interest in intimacy altogether. It's because he's already given his best somewhere else. When a man is loyal, he wants to give that best to you. But when he's cheating, what you get is leftovers. You'll feel it in the way he touches you, the way he rushes through, the lack of emotional connection. He may not say it, but his absence is loud. Then again, some men will take the opposite approach. Instead of pulling away, they'll smother you with extra attention, trying to erase their guilt by showing up in ways they never did before. They'll try to surprise you with passion, bring in things you never asked for, and act like they're suddenly reinventing intimacy. At first, it might seem flattering, but when you think about it, it doesn't line up. Why is he suddenly acting like a different man? Why is this coming out of nowhere? Where did he pick this up from? If it doesn't feel natural, it probably isn't. That sudden switch is not about growth. It's about guilt. The most dangerous thing women can do is ignore what they already know. Too often, women see the signs, they feel the shift, but they choose not to believe it because they love too hard. They'll say, maybe he's just tired, maybe it's just stress, maybe I'm overthinking. But deep down, you know when something has changed. You know when the intimacy doesn't feel like it used to. You know when his actions don't match the man you've been with all this time. That knowing is your greatest weapon, but it only works if you trust it. Men are not nearly as slick as they think they are. He can delete messages. He can hide his phone. He can lie about where he's been, but he can't disguise how the energy feels when you're alone together. Intimacy exposes everything. It tells you whether his heart is still in it or whether it's somewhere else. And the truth is, if you have to start questioning it, if you feel like you're piecing together clues, then something is already broken. Because in a healthy relationship, intimacy is not a puzzle. It's a natural flow. When a man loves you, when he's committed to you, the bedroom reflects that love. You feel secure, you feel wanted, you feel chosen. But when he strays, that same space becomes the stage where you can see the cracks. The distance, the inconsistency, the strange new energy, it all adds up to a truth you can't ignore. It hurts, yes, but pretending not to see it only hurts worse in the long run. If you know deep down something is wrong, you owe it to yourself to face it. Because loyalty cannot be faked, and sooner or later, the truth always shows itself.